Let's start with page 26. Remember that if you are in person and have a copy of the book, you can follow along with your physical copy of the book. If you are at home, follow along with me on the screen. I know it can be really difficult to see some of these words sometimes, but just try your best and make sure you are following all of our thinking steps. Let's read page 26. Seeking out the giant squid's relatives. This word seeking means looking for. That means that the heading for this section is looking for the giant squid's relatives. Let's go ahead and read through page 26. Seeking out the giant squid's relatives. Scientists study similar animals to learn about the characteristics and behavior of elusive or difficult to catch creatures like the giant squid. They make deductions that may help them zero in on their target. Now, the word deduction means the process of finding an answer by using what is already true. That means that they are trying to find answers to the giant squid by using the knowledge that they already know to help them find the squid. Let's continue reading. So if Clyde couldn't yet swim with a giant squid, he would find the next best thing. He went to Mexico's western coast. Take a look at the map here. This is where he traveled to. When the cold waters of the Humboldt Current are home to another large squid. The Humboldt squid. A Humboldt squid can weigh as much as 100 pounds, or 45 kilograms, and grow to be more than 8 feet. That's 2.4 meters long. Although not nearly as large as the other big squids, it has a reputation as a vicious, or savage and fierce, killer. At night, Humboldt squid gather by the hundreds, even thousands, near the surface of the Sea of Cortez to hunt for fishes, shrimp, and other cephalopods. Fishermen there have a special name for their squid, Diablo Rojo, red devil. It earned its nickname partly because its body flashes deep red when it's caught on a fishing line, and partly because a Humboldt squid ferociously, meaning cruelly savage and fierce, attacks bait, other Humboldt squid, and sometimes even human. Take a look at this photograph here, and now let's read the caption. This photograph is of a Humboldt squid known locally as the Red Devil, as it devours another Humboldt squid in the Sea of Cortez. And devour means to eat or swallow greedily. And if you take a closer look at this photograph, we can definitely see the squid eating the other squid in the Sea of Cortez. Let's pause there and write a gist. Remember that a gist is a short retelling of the story. In those pages, we learned that Dr. Clyde Roper went to Mexico to study the Humboldt squid because he wanted to know more about a squid that is similar to the giant squid. Let's continue reading. Clyde learned firsthand about Humboldt squid attacks when he and a film crew from National Geographic accompanied the fishermen one night. The fishermen caught the Humboldt squid on special fishing lures called jigs that allowed the captured squid to slip off the line as soon as it flipped aboard the boat. When a large female squid was caught on a jig, Clyde put on his wetsuit and scuba tank and dove underwater. Clyde moved in to get a closer look. He was staring into her open mouth when the squid suddenly nipped Clyde with her fist-sized beak and jetted away. That means that it bit Clyde. Let's see what happens next. After several hours of observing and filming more Humboldt squid from a safer distance, Clyde climbed back into the boat, exhausted. He peeled off his wetsuit and discovered blood spurting from a deep wound where the squid had bitten him. He still has the scar on his thigh to remind him he might well have suffered a worse fate. Watching the Humboldt squid helped Clyde imagine how the giant squid might hunt and capture its food. It also made him wonder what an encounter with a giant squid might be like if it is as fierce as the Red Devil. Now let's take a look at these photographs here. Let's start with this one. Let's read the caption so we know what it's about. This photograph is of the open beak of a Humboldt squid. Is a scary sight, especially if you encounter it underwater at night. So take a closer look at the beak. Now let's take a closer look at this photograph. Let's read the caption and then the label. This photograph is of Clyde. Clyde holds up a Humboldt squid like the one that took a bite out of his leg. The wound can be seen on his thigh. So take a look. Clyde here is holding a Humboldt squid. And we can see here the label tells us that this little mark on his leg is the wound from the squid bite. If you remember the last page, we read that a squid nipped, meaning it bit Clyde. And we can see where the wound is now. Before we continue, let's write a gist for the section that we just read. We read that Clyde spent a lot of time observing the squid, and after observing it closer, he was injured by a squid.